What is up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It's Ernie, Blerd without fear. Welcome back to the channel. Okay, so today we are back talking about more X-Men related things, Dawn of X. This time it is X-Force number 10 by Benjamin Percy and Joshua Cassara. And in this video, we are going to basically talk about the secrets that Beast, Hank McCoy, has been keeping in this new era of the mutants and being on Krakoa, having this mutant CIA, this secret organization within a clandestine country and all this other stuff, and how one of those secrets that he's keeping has come back to bite him in the ass. And not only has it come back to bite him in the ass, but we're also going to kind of talk a little bit about some of the screwy things that have kind of spiraled out of that. We're going to talk about all that and more right now. But first, wash your damn hands. And let's hit that intro.
Word to wise, grass only greener when it's fertilized. Gave them truth in these songs, they prefer to lies. Destiny beautiful, adrift in her purple eyes. You can't see me, you Stevie, wondering how I reach more evolutions than Evie and make it look easy.
Before we get started, if you want to see more awesome comic book videos like this one, it only takes 2 clicks to become one of Earth's mightiest subscribers. Click.
All right, real quick, before we even really get into the video proper, if you like the Blerd t-shirt I'm wearing, if you go swing by blerd.com, you can actually find more awesome shirts like this one. Some people have been asking me about the shirts that I've been wearing lately in the videos. A lot of them can be found at blerd.com. Not my website, but I am affiliated with them. So if you swing by there, tell them the Blerd Without Fear sent you, and also check out some of the other content that they have on that website. They feature my content as well as content of other Blerd content creators like myself. Anyways, let's get into what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about them X-Men's. And in this particular case, we're talking about X-Force and what's been going on lately. For those who don't really remember, it's been a while since we've had an issue of X-Force. But basically what's going on is that, a ways back, X-Force ran afoul of this little country called Terra Verde. Terra Verde was a country that was developing technology via telefloronics, which basically kind of amounted to tech that is very similar to what Krakoa has to offer. They were able to come up with their own types of medicines, vaccines, and other sorts of things that were very similar to Krakoa, what the mutants had to offer. It just so happened that while Terra Verde was developing this stuff and getting it ready to present to the world, the X-Men got there first. It's one of those situations where it kind of reminds me like if you're a video game fan, especially old school video game head like myself, you probably remember back in the day games like Final Fight. It's like Final Fight came first, but Streets of Rage is a game that is more highly regarded. I just think that's kind of funny. The fact of the matter is, even though technically Terra Verde was developing this stuff first, the X-Men came along and made a better version of it, and hence Krakoa being their Streets of Rage 2. That said, there was some bitterness between Terra Verde and the mutants of Krakoa, but what ultimately wound up happening was a little splinter cell. Basically, some of the scientists who were specifically working on this, one of them specifically being the son of the president of Terra Verde, they kind of started a terrorist organization. The telefloronic technology we were working on would have saved Terra Verde's economy, but no, the X-Men had to come along and ruin it all. So now they want revenge, and Beast, being Beast, he developed a back door into the telefloronic system that they had created. And of course, Beast does claim that he didn't necessarily do what he did intentionally in terms of how he reverse engineered the telefloronic cellular data and basically created to where it would basically turn on its human host and kill them. He didn't necessarily intend for that to be the end result, but that's exactly what happened. And one thing he really didn't intend on was that the floral part of the symbiosis between the human host and the plant, he didn't realize that the plant would become dominant, which is weird because I feel like if you set the telefloronics to turn on the human host, then what did you think was going to happen? I guess he figured that the plant part would die off. I don't know, but basically, yes, the plants have become dominant. It's almost like this really weird The Last of Us scenario where you take a thing, like a very real thing. Cordyceps is actually a real virus. It just doesn't affect humans the way it does in the video game series. But yeah, basically, this is exactly what that is. This is basically a kind of floral virus that is taking over people and turning them into clickers and such. How timely. And what Beast has ultimately done is he has turned Terra Verde into another Krakoa because the Telephoronics is basically taking over Terra Verde. There are no more living people on Terra Verde. It's basically just an island full of a bunch of plant people now, all of which who have been consumed by it and create this kind of hive mind. It's very interesting to me that Beast, yeah, he basically created another Krakoa, something that, yeah, he even admits for all intents and purposes, the entire idea of Telephoronics is basically Krakoa. It's one and the same. It's two sides of the same coin. I would even go as far as to say it's probably even the same denomination of money, just in a different currency. And Beast is doing all this because he's trying to protect Krakoa. He's doing all this to protect Krakoa. He's keeping all these secrets. And the thing is, this is just one of his secrets. He still has other things he's been keeping from Jean and Xavier and Magneto. He's been keeping all of these little secrets. And yeah, I think this is just the beginning of all that little house of cards, that house of lies just tumbling down on top of him. And it's going to be interesting to watch. The other thing I find really puzzling in all this is that yes, Beast is doing all this. He's keeping all these secrets to protect Krakoa, but I also feel like it's kind of messed up that he's sending Wolverine, Domino, and Kid Omega in the situation that he knows exactly what's happening, but he's not really telling them anything. Because when we witness Domino, Kid Omega, and Wolverine go into the situation, they literally have no clue what they're walking into. And ultimately, they wind up getting waylaid. They wind up getting their fades run. Wolverine and Kid Omega, for that matter. Domino is actually through, sheer force of the fact that she has this probability manipulating mutant X gene in her system. She's able to kind of luck her way through a lot of this, but even then, that's not enough. Rolling through all these traps and pitfalls, and what she finds is basically kind of a throwback to old Mayan civilization, this kind of Mayan-like figure who is, of course, consumed by the Telephoronics. He is basically about to sacrifice Wolverine and Kid Omega. And of course, the situation has gotten so hairy that Beast has had to send in Black Tom Cassidy to try and clean up some of this mess. But before Black Tom can actually even get all the way over there, Jean finds out exactly what Beast has been up to. Beast has been so consumed by his thoughts and his secrets that he's not even realizing that Jean has read his mind. Now, granted, Jean did not ask his permission. This is actually something that has always been kind of a rule, both spoken and unspoken, amongst X-Men, mutants in general for the most part, that if you're a telepath, you don't just read someone's mind without their permission. And this is what Jean has done. Jean has invaded his mind because she kind of got this sneaky suspicion something was up. And now she knows for a fact that it is. Now, granted, yes, Beast's argument is that, yes, I'm doing this for Krakoa. I'm doing this for Krakoa. But at the end of the day, he's doing things that are basically kind of circumventing what Jean feels the idea of this mutant CIA should be. Yes, we should be the guardians of the secrets, but we shouldn't be keeping secrets from each other. Not only that, Jean doesn't really like the idea that Beast was kind of playing God with other people's lives. And basically, yes, he chose to kill the president's son rather than actually try to help him. Beast had an opportunity to do something that would maybe possibly made relations between Terra Verde and Krakoa even better, maybe even Krakoa and the rest of humankind if they would have extended some sort of a kindness. But Beast decided to go the other direction. And yes, Beast does say that, yeah, I did this. I killed the one so that the many could live. But at the end of the day, Jean, we all know, is, yes, she's a badass and she's not above doing what it takes to get the job done when it needs to be done. But we also have to remember Jean is also one of the more compassionate people in all of mutantdom. And in some way, shape, form, or fashion, she does actually get to Beast, but, it's one of those things that's kind of hearsay. We're kind of getting this secondhand information by way of a Russian observer. If I remember correctly, this translates to the Chronicler, and we don't really know the identity of who the Chronicler is. but I'm sure we'll find out very soon. There has been some rumor that this could possibly be Irene Merriweather. I don't know if that's actually the case, but you never know. If it is Irene Merriweather, that's a character that died quite some time ago. If I'm not mistaken, this was back during the Despicable Deadpool run, and I'm pretty sure she died via strife. But at the same time, this is Krakoa, and people can be brought back, so I don't know. That's a tricky situation because if I'm not mistaken, Irene wasn't a mutant. At least she wasn't ever recognized as one, and of course we know things can change. Remember, Maura McTaggart was originally a regular human being, and now, as of House of X number 2, we realize she's actually been a mutant this entire time. So you never know. You never know. I'm not ruling anything out at this point. Nothing is true. Everything is permitted. But ultimately, Jean does come along to save the day alongside Sage. She is able to use her powers, kind of melding herself, kind of telepathically combining the power sets of herself, Sage, and Black Tom Cassidy to reach into Wolverine's psyche and basically kind of use his immune system, his healing factor to kind of work against what these new Terra Verdans have been doing to him. Basically trying to infect him with their own telephoronics, basically feedbacking that into him and causing them all to wilt and die. And effectively, this kills, all of them. Now that little bit of business is done, that means that, Beast is now off the hook. But for how long? Some other interesting things happen in this book. Some things we're not going to spend a lot of time on here. It's really just a little quick kind of jump in and jump out. But one of the things I do appreciate is that I know a lot of people kept saying that one of the previous videos, I seem to remember people saying that, I was putting too much thought into what was going on with Domino and her having her memories erased. It is very explicitly stated in this issue that yes, her memories were erased, and even though she didn't ask for it, she seems perfectly okay with it now, and she just assumes that maybe, just maybe, she's making excuses that maybe, even though she, at the time of her death, asked to not have those memories erased, maybe the person that she was at that point was so broken that maybe they were just speaking crazy talk. And Wolverine, of course, being a person who has lost memories and has spent time trying to gain those memories back, he kind of is trying to warn her of the pitfalls of that. So yes, things that were, hinted at or inferred upon, yes, they did actually turn out to be very true. The other thing that kind of comes up a lot, and a lot of people keep wanting me to talk about this, but I don't really think there's much to say here. Look, Cyclops, Wolverine, and Jean Grey, they have a poly relationship. This is not a secret. This is something that was well hinted at by the end of House of X and Powers of 10. We knew about this. This was a thing. We found out even more about this in X-Men number 1 at the start of Dawn of X when we found out they had conjoining rooms and Jean's was in between Wolverine's and Cyclops, and here it's even more confirmed. We've seen Jean hugged up with Cyclops. We've seen Jean hugged up with Wolverine, and we've even seen Wolverine kind of paints a really weird scenario there because in Wolverine number 1 and 2 we have to deal with the fact that Wolverine has accidentally killed Jean Grey, and there's some weird bad blood between Cyclops and Wolverine over that. But I don't really know how well Wolverine ties in all this, because there's stuff that's happening in those Wolverine books that don't line up with anything else that's happening elsewhere. Wolverine, I feel like, is kind of a non sequitur. But in this particular case, I feel like, yes, Wolverine and Jean, they are clapping cheeks, and it's going to be a thing. And you know what? Jean's probably going to go over to Cyclops's place, and then cheeks are gonna get clapped there. Who knows? They're probably all three clapping cheeks at the exact same time. And you know what? I'll even go as far as to say, based on some things that we have read in some of the previous issues of X-Men, I wouldn't be surprised if Wolverine and Cyclops were clapping each other's cheeks. It's just a thing. It's a thing. Poly relationships are real. They happen. Do I personally indulge in them? No. Do I personally feel like they are for me? No. But do I know people who engage in those relationships? Yes. And do I care? No. Because I never care who is pegging who. It's not important to me. That said, it's happening, and yes, they be Anyways, I'm kind of glad to have X-Force back. I'm glad to, you know, see Benjamin Percy giving us that good again. I mean, yeah, this issue is kind of all over the place. Got some crazy stuff going on in it. And yes, I'm kind of glad to see we're not playing long-term booking with this particular aspect. I feel like we're going to be playing long-term booking with Beast overall, but I'm glad this particular story arc is not being drug out any longer than it has to be. Now, it's not to say that we won't see the whole Terra Verdun, you know, thing come back up again, but I'm just glad this particular salvo, this opening salvo of it has been put to bed. That said, I enjoyed this issue. It was a very fun issue. Had a good time with it, and man, I'm now ready. Can we please get to Hellions? I'm ready to see Hellions #2. I'm ready to see the next X-Men comic. I'm ready for all of it. Let's get to it. Anyways, let me know what you thought about X-Force #10 by Benjamin Percy and Joshua Cassara. Wash your damn hands and sound off in the comments. So hey, you made it to the end of the video. Awesome for you. If you enjoyed this video, and if you made it this far, I don't see how you didn't, do me a favor. Hulk smash that like button. And if you want to see more awesome videos like this one, make sure you click subscribe so you can become one of Earth's mightiest subscribers, and tap that bell so you know when I post up. Also, feel free to go check out my Patreon, where if you chuck in a buck, you can get early access to most of my videos up to a week early. And if you have time, make sure you swing by nerd901.com, where you can find more of my content as well as other amazing stuff. Anyways, until next time, I love you 3000 plus Ultra!